responsibility again does Justin Trudeau bear? Right? It's got to be the ultimate responsibility, unless there's a cabal controlling him, right? Like, and then
Well, we know there is a cabal controlling him, though, right?
is there though?
Of course, there. You
And
think Justin is the top of the pyramid? Come on, man.
in Canada, I think he is
Come
the
on,
head of
bro.
the
He's
influence.
not.
Well, who else would
He's,
it be? Who else would it be? Right? I did see actually. I do want to because this is actually what made me want to reach out to you. And before I show you this, I did want to mention, which we're kind of way off topic, but I voted for your brother in 2015 uh, to become the Prime Minister of Canada. And when I saw you on Tucker, when you first did the thing, you looked right and sounded like the guy I thought I voted for, which I thought was quite funny. I'm like, that's the Trudeau. I know you're not Trudeau, but that's the family member that was projected, right? And
yeah.
we got the opposite. I thought that was just quite funny. But this to that point, who's controlling, right? I just want to show you this, and I'm sure you've seen this because it's gotten quite viral here. Can I play this for you? Do you mind?
Oh, yeah, sure. You can play that.
Because I want to. This is very interesting, and I want. There's a lot of speculation on who this is towards.
What is Justin Trudeau's brother trying to tell us here? To anyone who's blackmailed out there, or went to a white party, for example, and took a sip of a drink, and got a little bit crazy, and then you're a little bit disconnected from reality, and all of a sudden you find yourself participating in some sort of sick ritual, and oh, guess what? You find out later that that was all recorded, and now you need to tell you to do. It penetrates the cabinets. You're a victim, trapped. You may have consciously made that decision, but by giving in to the blackmail and the orders and execute the tyranny of the extreme minority that seeks to rule through blackmail, coercion, deception, and division, release yourself from it.
Couldn't agree more. Who is
Yeah.
that? Who is that directed to? Is that to your brother? That seems to
I mean,
be.
now it's to all the victims of the blackmail, which I think we know, and I'll say I believe Justin. I don't have any proof, but given the nature
You think he
of
was
the
blackmailed?
anyone who gets into I would say all of the leaders around the world who get into these positions, especially, who orchestrated, were forced into the grand, COVID plan and
Mhm.
became kind of puppets and repeaters, from Justin to Jacinda to, what was the British guy's name?
Oh shoot! At the time, they're going through so many since.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is like, all across the world, like, there was this concerted action, and we know, like, and now with, the Diddy files and the Epstein files, and, the nature of a manipulation and power and control. I mean,
But what you're implying there, right?
it wouldn't surprise me in the least,
Yeah.
you know, to get into a position of that power, that there's insurance to assure that, you keep rolling on that thing. And my
Makes sense.
plea to all these people is to come clean, to apologize, to release, to, like, try and break that spell and expose it. But
Well, I mean, the
these people,
examples.
like, you look at, like, Yale Skull and Bones Club, like, these rituals, these rituals that are known rituals that people do, which are disgusting and satanic, in my opinion. It forges a bond of which, everyone is kind of under it, and you work together, for this aim. And
Well, and the
and then,
examples you used, Diddy and especially Epstein. Like if that is what's going on, if that's who's running the country, right? It kind of it also brings me to which the number one question I got to ask you, which is related to that video, is about West Point Gray Academy, and I'm sure you're familiar with that, right?
That was the school that he
Oh.
taught at in Vancouver.
Well, because it was the case that his roommate and best friend and closest colleague at West Point Grey was the ringleader of an international child pornography ring. And he was arrested by he didn't even need evidence, so Australian police were allowed to issue his arrest in Canada. So I the and I read into it, it was accessed via his home computer and his work computer, right? And then at the same time, earlier in that time period, I think it was the early 2000s or the late 90s or whatever it was when he was there, there was 5 reasons given for Mr. Trudeau leaving West Point Grey. And one of them was issued by a law office. And all of the 5 reasons were different from each other, right? And then this came up as well in 2019, in the election in 2019, where the Buffalo Chronicle, if I can get over here, the Buffalo Chronicle, and it said that there was a $2.5 million settlement put out, and that settlement was given to a wealthy businessman's daughter to suppress this, right? And it seems to be the case that there in 1999 there was an inappropriate relationship with a 14-year-old girl that was there. And the crazy thing is that the blackface stuff that came out, which is whatever, it's silly. It's actually, anyway, that came from the same place, same yearbook that these allegations came from as well. And then the Buffalo Chronicle had put out an updated article, and Buffalo Chronicle has never in our entire operating history been sued for defamation or any other matter. We've never once received a cease and desist letter from the subjects of any article since we began publishing in 2014, and they did not receive one for this article as well. And in this, they allege that Trudeau had paid off a $2.5 million to this chick to sign an NDA in order to keep quiet about that. And then it just, with your video talking about coming clean.
I have nothing to add. I mean, I'm like that. That's 2020 or that's 2000. You know, I'm 16 years old. I don't have any any knowledge of that. I knew I like Chris Ingvoldson was his roommate.
Yep.
And he was tried. And again, bro, like, I don't have anything to add.
I
don't have
assume
any
based on your
knowledge.
age that you don't, but I'm sure you heard about that when it occurred. There's no way you didn't when you were 16.
What?
When that became public
I mean,
in
I'll say
2019? Did you hear about it when it happened in 2019?
I mean, look, 2019, yes. Like in looking, but again, I don't have any there's nothing that materially that I can add other than to say
Just conjecture.
I'm not saying that's conjecture. I don't know what I would say is conjecture is the whole Castro thing. That one is like the most brilliant piece of conjecture.
Yeah, I don't think that's accurate. They don't really look.
What's that?
They don't really look the same. Do you think?
No, I think that is the most brilliant piece of
Yeah.
conjecture that was created as a distraction from everything else. That was seeded to suck in, as a shield
Yeah.
for Justin to actually distract all conversations away from things like what you might be mentioning here.
Mhm.
I'm not this isn't an area that I'm not this doesn't serve it's not a place for me to add because I don't have anything to add. I don't have anything concrete. I don't have any evidence. I
What's
don't
your
have
gut
any
feeling though on something like that? Do you think that happened?
I don't. I mean, I know that Justin was, how old was he at the time?
1999. I don't know how old he would have been then. He probably been
So
in
it's
his mid 20s.
20, 28, I think.
20.
Like, at that time. I, you know, it's not for me to say, but nothing would kind of surprise me.
That
Like
wouldn't
that's still,
surprise you.
but again, this is not my
I know it's not.
position
I
to,
know
to,
it's
to
not, but
and this doesn't have shit to do with making Canada great again. And so no, I'm serious. And
yeah,
like if you want to if we want to play if you want to play Justin games and like me being like some sort of key towards
no, I
like
don't
bringing
think you're key to anything. It's just
exactly. I don't, it's like, this is just, I know people are interested in that. And trust me, man, I've dealt with a lot of people and I've had like, had late night calls with people who have in their minds connected all these fucking dots to the point where it's like, somehow my other brother was like, was murdered and this and that and this and that. And like, I'm not even gonna get into it because it's just, this doesn't get us, this discussion doesn't make Canada great again. This discussion doesn't, like, Justin can face his own justice. It's not my place to participate, on that discussion. I feel like, I've gone over this.
yeah, okay. Well, I do appreciate your your comment on that, and it just kind of comes down to the who's controlling and what they have to control over him, right? So if that's the case, that's what they
So
have,
again, now it's
and
like,
then it
you
makes
want to
sense
talk
though
about
that
the
we have the
control
freedom.
structure, look to like, look to the global cabal cult, the spider, as David Icke, like, considers it. This is this new world order. This is what Klaus Schwab penetrates. I do believe Klaus Schwab himself is a bit of an energy vacuum and a front man, for actual power brokers. You look at the Bilderberg Group, you look at the Council on Foreign Relations, you look at the way that these groups kind of operate and do long-tailed geopolitical planning, and long scale. They view nation leaders as spokespeople, as just frontmen. In the grand global pyramid of power, Justin Trudeau is not at the top of that. In the grand global power,
Sure.
Justin Trudeau is not at the top of the Canadian pillar either. He represents, like, he is a spokesperson kind of voice.
Well,
And
I've heard you say he's the captain of the team, right?
yeah, he's like the captain
No,
of the
he's
hockey
not
club.
writing the plays, but
He's not writing the plays.
you
He's
think he
not
has
the owner of
zero
the play.
influence
He's
on
not
the
the
plays
coach.
whatsoever, though. Is he
Honestly, I
just
don't
there
think
to be
he does.
pretty? Because he gets things done, right? It is not the case that he's an ineffective prime minister for his own
No, he gets
for
things,
his
and he's an
party.
excellent, and he's an excellent talker, and he's an excellent actor. He's an excellent, like, conveyor, and he's been able to, play his part pretty well. And he did push forward, the agenda and represent the agenda, of the party and of the party's masters, all in the face of the will of the people. And this is where, like, ultimately, I believe that Canada and and other nations, it's become like, of the people, of the party, by the party, for the party, as opposed to of the people, by the people, for the people. And that's where it's like, it feels right now like, we need to have, there needs to be a shift.
I do want to mention too about the whether this is not making Canada great again. I do see how the inflammatory, subject matter obviously might be a bit Barbary for you, and how it might not exactly seem as if it would be perhaps helpful to moving the discussion along. But that also, I think, I mean, if you're looking at what's getting uncovered in the United States, it's not like you can just have had issues, acknowledge them, and then move on. You have to investigate them, right? And if
Oh, I
if
agree.
if there are people, okay, like you are saying, in this global cabal, so to speak, which again, I have no reason to doubt that that's the case, given any number of things you can point to. Who and what are they having on are they on these individuals, and is it the worst crime ever, right? Is it the worst crime ever, and is that what's being held over these people that allow them to quite literally ruin an entire nation, right? Like, how long have you been in the United States, sir? Like living full time?
Since 2020.
Since 2020. It's gotten bad in 5 years, right? Like personally, not, but externally, it's not good, right? The like you said, it's a low vibration on the thing. Why do you think that is, right? Like there is no high vibration in Canada. It's kind of been melted, right? Like when you've got the ability to go protest something that you don't agree with your government, right? That makes you feel like you have a say in what occurs in the government. And then if you're punished for that, you really don't have a say in the government. And what kind of recourse do the people have other than pointing at the leaders that are making decisions and trying to dismantle them from the outside, right?
Again, that's easy, and that's like, that's the, blame the hockey captain for not winning the game and try and get a new captain and hope you'll win the game, recognizing that, the whole game is rigged is the key to this. And that's why, like, this system of this parliamentary Westminster system of governance combined with a crooked judiciary system, where murderers are being let free after a couple of years, whereas Pat King is being politically persecuted for 10 years, where, you know, fucking government, you're not allowed to advertise drugs on TV, but you have literally the heads of Health Canada out there coercing the Canadian population towards taking experimental injection.
And also
Which,
just regular narcotics and heroin and cocaine.
and, exactly, so yeah,
Yeah.
like this is the state, and again, and now it's I look at, like, what are the actions that can be taken forward. Is there potential for a referendum in Canada? Potentially. It's tough though.
It is
Like,
tough. There needs to be
it's tough. We need to have, like, a real populist grassroots movement. And I don't think, like, you can't fix a system by fighting it. Like, truly change something, build a new model that makes the existing one obsolete. And that new model is, in my opinion, like, an independent Canada.
I think it's
And
republicanism. That's
and
what I think.
learning and being under the tutelage of our greatest partner, America,
Yeah,
and potentially adopting the U.S. Constitution, and understanding, like, the rights that imbues upon the people, because Canada's lost a lot of its rights. We're living,
100%.
it's wild out there. So,
Well,
this
just
is